I thought I would actually have to play that music to get you guys to all sit down, but you're all ready. Usually everyone's all chatting. I'd spend all week going, oh, what's the perfect song to get everyone to sit down? So thank you all for being so kind. So welcome to the very first, I hope, of many annual, at least annual, pitch competitions for Estevan. Sorry, I gotta do two hands. We get into it. Let's do our land acknowledgement. This will be the only time I read. Treaty 4, okay, I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the treaty land referred to as Treaty 4 territory, and that the city of Estevan and all the people here are the beneficiaries of this treaty. Treaty 4 encompasses the lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect and honor the treaties that were made in all territories, and we acknowledge the harm and mistakes of the past. We are committed to move forward in the partnership with Indigenous nations in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Being from BC, I always have to do that because we have different nations. Okay, so first off, I want to really thank our sponsors. And our sponsors, I've done a whole bunch of events in the past. Our sponsors are really, really special, because in other events I've done in the past, it's been about how much advertising bang you can get out of the buck. These sponsors are very, very different. When I first came up with this crazy idea to do this in Estevan, I reached out to Leanne at SAS Power. I think some of you guys know her. And she was a real champion to get the money. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here. The other part about her is she's been a real champion for our community. So the way she talked about this was, how can she and SAS Power make our community grow? So that was massive. Then when I reached out to my other partners, all represented along here, all of them were all about what can we do to help? So a number of these partners, these sponsors, ran workshops for us. And they're all about how can we make Estevan grow. So truly calling them partners more than sponsors is more accurate. Okay, so let's get into the fun. Our judges are Susan McNabb, give us a wave, SAS Power. Mike Woolsfield, Startup TNT. Andrea Bradley, Community Futures Sunrise, Weyburn, there we go. Kevin Chung from Innovation Saskatchewan, and Timothy Spielman from Southeast College. They give us this great venue. Okay, so how does this all work? So, because that's the question a lot of people will be asking me, is it a pitch competition to see how far we can throw a ball, how fast we can throw a ball? So this is like Dragon's Den, this is like Shark Tank. So we're gonna have 4 groups of people who are in the audience right now. They've all come up with a really good business idea. We've got a business plan from each of them. We've given them to the judges a couple of days ago. So the judges have a little bit more meat than you're gonna get. But then these guys have up to 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, the music will get really loud and they'll be pulled off the stage. Okay, and then they're gonna have 10 minutes with our judges. We're not gonna be like Dragon's Den. We're not trying to get views. We're trying to help these guys grow, so the questions are gonna be nice, right? Right, okay, cool. And then we're gonna do that 4 times. Then these guys are all gonna go away and we're all gonna have a little chat with, so if you have questions, you'll have this opportunity while the judges are deciding. And frankly, I have no idea who's gonna win because they're all pretty damn good. So they're all gonna have an opportunity. You can ask them questions while these guys go and decide. Then after which we're gonna come out here and give someone $22,000. So first up, we have Stephen Henson. He's from Weyburn, be nice. The first time I met Stephen, he was actually a judge with me when we were doing a pitch competition at the Tech Hub for grade 8 students. All right, so take it away, Stephen.
All right. Hi, my name is Estevan, and I'm the founder of StreamTech. StreamTech is a cloud-based business management platform built to create efficiencies in safety, compliance, equipment management, and operations, which is just a really long-winded way of saying we digitize paperwork. But before you just judge us based on that, we got to talk about the journey of how we've got here. So I've worked in the oil and gas industry for over 12 years. I've worked on service rigs, I've been an engineering intern in Calgary, and I've owned and operated my own service company for 9 years. Currently, I'm a battery operator south of Weyburn. So throughout all this time in the industry, I've learned quite a bit, and I've seen a lot of changes. We've seen the regulations change, we've seen the adoption of automation, and we've seen that companies are now driven to find the efficiency in their workforce. And really, it became a lot of my duty when I ran my company to find these efficiencies and make my company better every day. With the challenges that we face, we realized we're being faced by companies all over the province. So a little bit about these challenges. There's the automation of the tasks that are happening. So companies need to gather inspections, certifications, and all this information that's out in the field. It actually takes a lot of time and effort to gather this and put it all together in one place. To track our equipment maintenance and our inspections is really key. We had over $1 million worth of equipment and we were just a small company. Downtime with this equipment could cost us a huge amount of money and really affect our bottom line. And then keeping up-to-date information on every job site. Now that's a legal requirement, but it's actually a big business case too. If you have bad information on every job site, it's not going to help you run your business efficiently. And then collecting, tracking, and interpreting data. So we're getting all this information from every form that's filled out. This information, we had to go through it and make sure we were using it properly. So it just created all these challenges. So that's why we developed StreamTech. StreamTech is a one-stop shop that allows you to digitize all this stuff in a way that makes sense. The workflows for each different type of application, whether it's an inspection or certification, is designed specifically to gather that information in there. And we have features like employee tracking, digital forms, equipment maintenance and inspections, and so much more all in this house. What this results in is a simplified business plan. It reduces the amount of paperwork that you're gathering, and then it also increases that access to the information. So ultimately, this saves you money. And I know what everyone up here is going to say is they can save money and time, but as a business owner myself, I was able to calculate and see the time savings. If all this information is gathered for you in one place and it's really just presenting to you the issues you're facing, you will save a lot of time. So it turns out that safety and compliance is something that's in a lot of industries, whether it's oil and gas, power generation, trucking, manufacturing, construction, agriculture, and mining. There's a lot of places that need it. In fact, we have beta testers in 4 of those industries. However, with my background in the oil and gas industry, that is our main focus. We don't want to get too tied up trying to be the app for everybody, even if there's other places where it can be used. Based on this feedback from our beta testers, we have found the areas that StreamTech is extremely valuable, as well as some opportunities for us to improve the product. And that's where we're going into with operational excellence. Operational excellence is that idea of trying to create an enterprise level solution to build us up to be even better. We've gotten feedback from battery operators, engineers, and managers within the oil and gas producers. And we've found that their problems are unique and can be solved, but are a little different than what we've been doing currently. So this operational data that we are gathering is not quite the same as the other data. So we found some new problems. There's paperwork is just clunky. There's a lot of us that are passing around a clipboard with our paper on it between us and the other operators. So this means communication does not happen efficiently. It doesn't happen immediately, and it really happens once a week when you're transferring. If you lose a piece of paper, it's gone. Numbers have meaning behind them. And what I mean by this is we're out there gathering numbers, but some of these are represented in trends. Some of these need to be prorated. Some of these are going to tell you of issues that are arising, and some of them just might be a number. And feedback is required. So we're gathering all these numbers and all this information. What happens is This is used retroactively. If we have a failure of a pump or a failure of a system, you're going back and seeing what the trend can tell you. We would like to see if we can get this trend up front rather than retroactively. And geographically speaking, our area is huge. Each operator can visit hundreds of different sites over the course of their week on. And with that, each site has different things, and you end up being redundant when you come back to the same site just to collect a different piece of data that you could have already collected. So we have some solutions. We want to make sure that we are providing that context. So when there's information coming into StreamTech, we can actually accurately use that and provide that context, whether it's trending that or prorating it. Basically, we want to also make sure that all this information is collected in one platform, digitally and online, and accessed everywhere automatically. Providing that GPS, so when you are on that site, you are be getting the exact information that you need. So you'll see the forms that are required there or the inspection that's due. And that means you can jump from site to site, and we're displaying only what's relevant to you where you are. And then we're going to incorporate the power of StreamTech. So StreamTech has already been developed with a logging in, so an authentication system, filters, permissions, and notifications. So let's use the tool that we've already created to basically build this out without having a lot of inefficiency to the system. So we're not the only company that digitizes paperwork, and anyone that's used a lot of these new systems has realized that there's some really good ones out there. However, as a business owner, I've tried a lot of them. In one point in time, we actually had 5 different apps in our company that we were using just to make sure we were covering all of our bases. And that involved 5 logins for every one of our employees and 5 bills at the end of the month. And pretty quickly, it was not making any sense. So what we have done is we've put a lot of features in one platform, more than our competition at a very attractive price point, but we've also made it so you can turn off individual features, making it so that there's value at every price point. So it scales very easily. If you're a large company or a small company, or you need certain things or not, we can complement what you're already doing or do everything for you. And don't just take our word for it. Every step of the way, we are making sure that we talk to our customers and our stakeholders and gathering information. And what we found is in the operational world, it's the same as safety and compliance. A lot of the solutions that are already out there are not actually solving the problem. They're clunky, they're overwhelming, and they ultimately don't save time based on paper. And what this happens is your frontline employees are not happy about using the system, and it turns into garbage in, garbage out. So we've really been on that focus of getting that good information and providing high value. So yes, we've niched into the oil and gas industry now instead of being broad, but this is a very healthy industry. It's actually very big. It's $269 billion in Canada and $708 billion in the United States. Now, if we can just capture a small little sliver of this industry, there's a lot of value to be made here. So we need a roadmap and a plan. So right now we've already started designing, mocking up, and talking to all of our potential customers and partners throughout this process. We want to start development of this in January of 2024. And based on what we've already done with developing StreamTech, we are very confident that we'll be able to have beta features released throughout May through September, releasing to the partners and getting that iteration process where we can actually refine it down and solving our issues. The MVP can be released in the fall, so that's our minimum viable product. It's going to be basic, but we feel that we can release that to our partners and actually have them use it in the field. And then 6 months after that, we believe we can get the full release out. But you can't execute if you don't have a good team. So as president and founder, it's my job to make sure that we deliver on our promises. I do have a background in computer engineering as well as business, and with my oil and gas experience, I feel that we have a good domain knowledge. On top of that, I am the end user. I have seen and will use this product day to day, and it's been valuable or invaluable to creating this product. Carson is our chief technology officer, our lead developer, and he has an expertise in mobile development as well as user experience. This has been very valuable to us as he's able to create powerful yet simple to use software, and we've proven that through trials. And then Heidi is our compliance director. It's her job to make sure that we are actually building software that's compliant with government regulations, and we're not just going to throw something out there that's going to end up causing issues with our customers down the line. She actually runs her own tech company in the healthcare industry, which is very regulatory heavy. So having her on their team really helps us build out this whole system. So we're very proud of what we've accomplished in this time, but really we're just at the beginning. And we're excited about this opportunity to really jumpstart where we're at. We're asking to receive the pitched money today to really help kickstart where we're going, to use and secure this funding to help us build this company here in Estevan, where we can take StreamTech from where it is today, finish our development, and find product market fit into the future. Thank you for your time. I'll now take any questions.
Don't worry, I told them to do it.
Well, I'm a little worried.
All right, I will start, but I may not finish. I may come around and finish.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So this sounds like a very interesting idea, and I can pretty well imagine I see battery operators all the time going around and information you gather. I've toured batteries close to my farm, so you can understand from a power engineering point of view what kind of information you're collecting. This sounds like work that your company would do anyway, right? Like this, like you have a platform that you've already built out, right?
Yep.
Okay, and this sounds like a natural progression.
Yeah, I would say yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So where does the StreamTech current end and StreamTech future start? Like this venture. And by the way, I got to say the name operational excellence way overused. Got to find a better name.
Yeah, we can't really. Naming things is pretty hard. The name StreamTech's not necessarily my favorite right now either, but
I like it better than
yeah.
operational excellence. We get beat over the head of that with SaaS.
Ultimately, I would say to answer your question, StreamTech was built to be a compliance system. So it's built to get your certificate of recognition. It was more built around being compliant and being safety-wise and keeping that. And this is more around that operational data side. So when you're an oil and gas producer, a lot of the value that you're driving is like minimizing your cost, maximizing your uptime. As a battery operator, it's our job to keep that uptime high. And so the basics of it is making sure that we're understanding the numbers we're getting. So at a gas plant, you might be collecting the pressures, temperatures, and all these things. And as they kind of get out of spec, things can start coming up. So we want to help optimize that by providing the ability for new operators, younger operators, or even less operators to operate more sites in the same amount of time and get good, valuable numbers and feedback out of that. We have seen a reduction in the number of operators operating the same amount of equipment. So having that ability to not necessarily take on more responsibility and create blind spots, I guess. Is that?
I get a sense of it there. I also got to wonder if there's a role for smart transmitters.
Absolutely. And that would be a great component into it, and utilizing that kind of stuff as part of the component. What we're seeing is the smart devices are there, but it's ultimately just spitting out numbers that don't mean anything. That's where it's kind of just a number, and it can just go into a system. So it takes that interpretation of that to really put meaning behind that number.
So yeah, for some context, start TNT, we're an angel investment. We invest in early stage tech businesses. At the stage that we invest in, very, very early stage, something that's very important to us is market sizing. Essentially, every company that we invest in needs to have the potential to be $1 billion business, because 9 out of 10 are going to go to zero. So we need that one to pay for the rest of them. So you had a slide there on the oil and gas market, which would be the TAM, the total addressable market. The two other numbers that we we generally need to look at at early stage are SAM and SOM, which would be serviceable addressable market and serviceable obtainable market. So I'm curious if you have a sense of what that SOM would be in your space, where it's more so the money spent annually on specific to compliance software or operational software in that space.
I don't have like hard, fast numbers. From my experience, it's for around $1,000 employee company, it'd be around $300,000 is what they invest in just software.
Very, very interesting, absolutely. How do you see, so right now we see in rural Saskatchewan, there's a connectivity issue. So how does this combat that? Because
No, that's a very valid question. We didn't really touch on it in the presentation. We develop on an offline first mentality. So it's built to be offline and then you have to come back and service. Obviously, you do need service or you do need internet to use it. You can't be offline forever, but it is developed with that offline first is kind of the mentality of it.
Thanks for the pitch, Stephen. Thought it was great, and I really appreciate that you're an operator yourself, and I'm confident that you know a lot of the challenges firsthand, and you're trying to address that with your company. So I think that's great. My question, I guess, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about more. You mentioned right now you're focused on oil and gas, and you identify some of the other sectors that this could be applied to. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about some of the user requirements that would be different with the other sectors and how you would translate that into your product into those areas?
Absolutely. And I mean, we can use probably the biggest differentiator in agriculture. So as a farming background with my family, this wouldn't necessarily translate very well into that sphere. So we really had to pick kind of a lane and get narrowed down. So something like power generation, on the other hand, there's probably operators, and I don't have a lot of experience in a power plant, so I apologize if I'm butchering this, but they would probably be gathering numbers and maintaining trends as well. So there might be some translation there. Mining, I would imagine it's kind of the same idea with that equipment management and that level. So I think it kind of trickles down as you kind of get more and more away from it. We really did want to focus on picking a lane and being very good at something. With the initial compliance and safety software, we were more broad because it was around that certificate of recognition, around that OH&S side. And this is kind of us really trying to drive that high value and really solve a hair on fire problem, or solve at least what I have seen firsthand as being a really challenging yet a high value piece.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Again, great presentation. Thank you very much. Mine is really focused around, how are you helping the guy who's making the decisions, right? So this question really has to do with analytics and the predictive nature. Now, you sort of alluded to that a little bit, that you're looking backwards and you can analyze trends.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, the best fire is
one
where
that
you
you know.
prevent, right?
Bingo.
So, it saves you the most money, like an ounce of prevention, or prevention beats a pound of cure, right? So really, I'm looking at analytics and who best, like business size, et cetera, would benefit from those analytics. Because if we've got a full staff, large organization, you tend to segment up those
Absolutely, yeah.
those decisions and those business processes. So you talked a little bit about business size, and so I'm looking for decision-making they would benefit, proactive decision-making, and size. Because I'm really trying to focus on this market segment where you'd really be able to crack first.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I would argue that this would be best suited for companies of, and we're talking a whole company size of at least a minimum of like 200 or 300 employees. Much lower than that, you're probably going to have the decision makers and a lot of these people playing multiple roles and wearing multiple hats. And that tends to lead to, they can make decisions and they have a lot more responsibility with that. At these larger companies, in my experience, a lot of this data is just filled out on a piece of paper and you're just going down the line. Monday's here, Tuesday's here, Wednesday's here. And you're as an operator expected to see the trends and kind of watch it. An experienced operator, he'll see a number that's way out of whack and he'll know. He doesn't need a system to tell him that. He'll know. But when you've now shrunk your amount of people, you've lost a lot of expertise over the years. Now it's actually better to get a visualization by taking this data, entering it, and then getting a visualization or like a representation of it. So I have seen certain companies do certain things like this already where you have a visual trend. You see a flat line, fantastic. You see a line drop off, now you can get that visual thing. So even though it might be like 50, 50, 50, 48, and our brains might not see that's a big deal. You see certain percentage drops on a trend, you can really pick that up. So I think that's where you're kind of going to see the values. Those companies where the decision-making has been spread out over more people, but the responsibility still lies with some of those frontline employees to interpret what they're doing and empower them to ultimately make decisions before, I guess, things go wrong.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was an amazing first pitch, and those questions were outstanding. That was really good. Awesome. So the next person we have up is a guy who showed up to my office, no kidding, with a drone that was about that big. And we were flying it behind Affinity, and I think we scared some of the people working in the bank because that thing was loud. So over here we have Rod, and I won't say anything more. Take it away, Rod.
Thank you, Gord, Tech Hub, and sponsors, partners. I'm Rod Cullen and with Predator Inspections. We started Predator Inspections, Brandy and I, this summer. We're both actually from Regina. We've been in Estevan since 2009. And Brandy started her own business for about 4 years now, and I'm at the coal mine in Estevan. So basically, currently we do visual inspections, multispectral, infrared, thermal, laser methane, and we do virtual tours. Our sensors and the technology helps to create digital twins. And that can be done efficiently and safely from the ground. So basically, we wanted to help businesses be a little bit more efficient, realizing that there's aging infrastructure out there that help try to modernize some of this old infrastructure, and realize there's costs associated with that. And we're just trying to help businesses be a little bit more efficient. Using my aviation background and with Transport Canada changing the drone laws in 2019, it kind of made it a little more practical to adopt a piece of equipment like this. It's considered an aircraft, I guess, with Transport Canada since 2019, and it's a pretty powerful little computer. A lot of software, a lot of technology with this piece of equipment, and just makes it more practical to use it for day-to-day operations instead of trying to hire a helicopter or an airplane. So like I say, we can get pretty good quality data pretty efficiently with this sensor and our equipment. And with some of the new softwares out there, like AI softwares, they can help manage the data pretty efficiently. Instead of taking minutes or half an hour or so to go through your photos and looking at stuff, AI has the power to go through those images in seconds. Just makes it a little bit more efficient. So our sensors deal with invisible energy like thermal, or laser methane, and the other one is the photosynthesis sensor for multispectral crop inspections. So the one chart there is kind of the what we can see. What we can see during the day, just dealing with everything, and the light spectrum there is just what all the energy that's around us that we can't see. So like I say, one of our sensors, it's a radiometric thermal camera, so we can get temperature spot readings from that. And that helps businesses be a little bit more efficient if they're planning maintenance and need to figure out where they need to spend costs or cut costs. And you're able to get temperature spot readings, like I say, from the picture on the right there. So you can see if a motor or a part is running normal or if it's about to fail. You can plan your maintenance schedule around that. We're able to do thermal mapping also, which for roof inspections and for building envelope, just to help your building or your house, I guess, be a little bit more efficient and compliant and know where you got to spend money. One of the sensors that we operate also, it's a multispectral sensor. It's for crop inspections. You can use it for pipeline patrols and all that stuff. And basically, doing precision ag, farmers and landowners can focus on the stressed areas instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on chemical. You can worry about the areas that actually need it. So here's an example of our photosynthesis sensor. Like it processes all the normal vegetation indices, and depending on the cycle of the growth stage of plants throughout the season, you can start to make predictions for next year if you need to add more fertilizer, more chemicals, if you need to target specific areas instead of, like I say, painting the whole field with a certain amount of chemical. You can do spot spraying, precision ag. So one of the other sensors we use is a laser methane sensor. And this gives us pictures and videos, real-time gas concentrations of methane, natural gas. Just more efficient and lets business owners and employees know where they need to focus and what they're getting into, I guess, for gas concentrations. So here's an example, like our laser methane is on an actual leaf hatcher on the top of a tank. You don't have to worry about climbing up there and having 3-point harnesses and such. And then, like I say, we can do gas mapping with this pretty efficiently, giving us quantification amounts, and just kind of lets us know where to go back and double check at an area. So this here is for digital twins. So the picture on the left, that's basically one photo with one of our sensors, a 45 megapixel camera. The picture on the right it's a digital twin, so it's hundreds of photos stitched together for like a 3D model, basically. So for these digital twins and 3D models, we use basically, that's called a DRTK2. It's a GPS honing station. We pull in 32, 39 satellites to get us centimeter accuracy. It just helps with the software and the programs to stitch the images together for photogrammetry. And so there's quite a few different categories of digital twins. The ones that our sensors kind of help with are reality models and for preventative maintenance simulation and stuff like that. Instead of shutting a piece of equipment down in the field, you can run simulations, and our inspection software photos would help that simulation be a little bit more reliable, accurate. And so this is kind of one of the flight flight path that we do with our the digital twin. Like I say, it takes hundreds, sometimes thousands of photos, and it stitches them together. It's all calculating the XYZ, which is the geometry, the altitude in relation to where it took off, to what it's looking at, and it's doing all those calculations to take the 2D picture and create a 3D model. So again, that's one of the 2D pictures from our virtual tour softwares, and then the image up on the left is hundreds of photos stitched together again for a virtual digital twin, virtual model. So this is one of the other sensors that we use. It's not on the drone, it's a handheld sensor, but it's for exterior and interior. And basically you can interact with this sensor. So if you need to label electrical boxes, if you need to add schematics for parts, for motors, if you need to measure, you don't have to go back to site, or it just saves you for site visits and dealing with contractors, maybe for training. You're able to edit and update the model, the digital twin, and you can share it between departments and employees. So we're trying to incorporate all these sensors into various industries. There's lots of different applications, basically. One of the sensors that we want to add, that we want to offer, is LiDAR inspections, a LiDAR sensor. So basically the difference between LiDAR and photogrammetry is you're shooting a laser, hundreds, thousands of lasers, and those lasers are getting a direct hit, and they're getting an actual measurement. So it makes it a little bit more accurate. Versus photogrammetry, it's visually appealing and it looks nice, but it's not really good for measuring, because it's taking guesstimates from the XYZ, whereas, like I say, a laser, it's actually hitting something. And yeah, we want to, what we're finding with all these sensors that we use, there's different subscriptions, there's hundreds of thousands of photos. So we're also looking at an AI software platform that we can ingest our data deliverables, I guess, from all our different sensors, from our multispectral sensor, from our thermal inspection cameras, from our photogrammetry cameras. And what's interesting about this software is our customers can also ingest their data into it, whether it's old schematics, old blueprints, whether they have security cameras, whether they have their own remote inspections already. So it could be ingested into this software. And basically our photogrammetry models, that data can be entered into these models. So when you're looking at a photogrammetry model of a lease or a facility, you're actually getting all that sensor data that was pertinent to that facility in that model. And that's what I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the pitch, Rod. That was great, and I gotta say, I love the brand. So great job putting that together for your companies. I've got a few questions, so please bear with me. Just on the business side, can you confirm, like you're essentially like when clients come to you with a specific inspection need or whatever requirement, you're essentially selling your service and operating the drone to get the data and the visuals that they need for whatever they're looking for.
Yeah, it depends on the customer if it's, and where it's located, whether it's in like a city, then I have to do what's called a site survey according to Transport Canada. So I have to figure out, where the asset is that I'm inspecting. If it's close to an airport, I have to get authorization. I have to apply for all that stuff. Again, if there's people around, I have to either cordon off the area, coordinate all that sort of thing. And then it just depends on what the inspection calls for. If it's for a thermal mapping of the roof, basically, then, it's just a matter of setting up a safety perimeter, I guess, right? If it's over people, then I have to get a parachute, and there's depends on where it is and what it is. If it's out in the middle of a field and I'm in Class G airspace, then basically I just go do the job and watch out for aircraft.
Cool, that's great. You mentioned you're using DJI drones right now. So how much of modifications do you have to do to incorporate all the technologies that you mentioned to those drones when you purchase them?
So the drone that we're using is the M300, and basically it can carry 3 different payloads. 2 we use simultaneously, and basically the only configuration I do is sometimes I'll change the dual gimbal, and basically all I have to do is do a center of gravity calibration when I actually take off, and it depends on the sensors I'm using for the job, right? And then, like I say, if it's a multispectral job, then I have to use a fields program. If it's for photogrammetry, I have to use a photogrammetry program. For thermal, I have to use a thermal analysis program. So it's just one of those things that all those costs are incurred and then have to be put on to other people, customers. So that's why I'm kind of favoring that one program where everything is all in one complete package, I guess.
That's very cool. Which sector are you getting the most demand from right now?
Actually, we did quite a bit of work with SAS Power this summer, a few jobs, and another project there with SAS Power coming up. And that's about it, I guess, for now. We did some methane jobs there I was trying to think, in August, I think it was. Yeah, we did a few jobs with methane there, just, again, quantification and seeing exactly where it was coming from and how much. So.
That's great. And my last question, have you looked at how much you've saved your clients in terms of time and money from doing those inspections with your drones?
Well, I know with the one customer, they said they had a quote for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we were able to do that for a fraction of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to include that in your pitch and just your marketing to your clients, just because even just that job you talked about in terms of climbing up into a pretty high place to do the inspection. Not only just the time and money that you save your clients, right? Like the safety aspect of it. I think that's huge value that you're bringing to your customers. So
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Hi there, I just have one quick question. So why would I pick you over someone else? And I'm just trying to be real practical. This is about the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
Like you look like you absolutely know what you're doing, right? Which is fantastic because I've been sold a lot of delegates in the past. So the reality of it is why your pilot. I mean, I see a number of things pop in my head, but why you?
Yeah, like our company has quite a different directions we could go with it. Obviously, there's drone schools. We could get into that for training. The BVLOS rules are changing in 2024, so there's options with that for pipeline patrols, for infrastructure, for SAS Power, for power line and utility and stuff. And one of the things with that, like all these images are geolocated, so you can differentiate from pole to pole to pole to pole. So there's lots of different sensors and lots of different applications for various industries. And the more we can do, the more we have to offer, I guess.
So I'm just gonna ask you really quick, because like, if you're really good at what you do, don't be afraid to say it, okay? Because it really sounds like you are.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
I have a couple more practical questions, because some of that I didn't understand.
Yep.
I see an application, I think, for a lot of industries, but the one that comes to my mind is search and rescue. Has that been something on your radar?
I did think about that too, and I know I read something in with just and basically time too. Like I just don't think I'd have enough time to be available for that. It's not a paying position, obviously, but yeah, if something did come up and somebody lost a dog, a loved one. I have 4 dogs, so yeah, I would definitely take that out. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's an application for that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
I just can't set my business aside for emergency situations, you know.
Understood. So a couple more questions. How, like distance-wise, how far away can it go, I guess, from where you are as the operator? And then weather. We live in southern Saskatchewan. This what impacts weather at all times of year.
Yeah, so this drone, I've had it out in pretty good winds. It's actually rated for about 43 kilometers an hour. I've done mapping missions with it about 35, 37. And like I say, it's a quadcopter. It's pretty stable. Plus it's got the gimbal and a mechanical shutter. And actually I did a friend's property there and it was no problem with the data. And for right now it's visual line of sight. And basically the drone has collision avoidance lights like the flashlight, flashes, LED flashes. So I think I've had it over 5,000 feet. Like it all depends on the size of the drone, right? So those little ones that you get from the store, if you take it more than a couple hundred, you don't know where it is. But this one I could see it's pretty noticeable. It's pretty big. And it has the capacity to go, I think, 15 kilometers. So.
Yeah, so you mentioned there, like limitations on your time in terms of operating the drone, operating the business. My question is around like scalability of your growth. Typically, it's difficult to grow the services-based revenue model because the more customers you take in, either the more time you have to dedicate yourself, or the more staff you need to hire, your margins get slimmer and slimmer the larger you get. So I'm curious if there's anything in what you're doing that you could potentially productize and sell as either a software or a product of some kind that can bring in additional revenue streams for you without bringing on additional human resources as you grow those revenue streams.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about all the software side of things. I know it is it is heavy when like say, you got to go out and collect all the data and then do all the processing. And that's one of the things that I want to incorporate is this software. It's a cloud-based software. So when I'm done one job, I can upload it. Doesn't matter what it is. I can go do the other job. And it's basically, I get an email when it's done, right? So that's one of the benefits of having an AI product like this, I guess. So it just helps me scale into other businesses or other markets, I guess, and train new people, have time for that, and helps us scale. Yeah, like you said. Thanks, Mike.
I really enjoyed your presentation, and I see, a lot of applications, a lot of directions you could go as well. So I'm still struggling with where your current predator, sorry, I want to get the name right here, predator inspections lives and where you want to go. Like, what is it you're wanting to innovate on? So I saw that you had a picture of Shannon Power Station there, and you had the stack, which that stack is probably like 20, 30 feet in diameter. So if your drone could fly down the middle of that stack and we're offline, there's no flue gas. Because like you rightly pointed out, we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that inspected, and there's metal thickness there, there's wear and tear, and sometimes even, things need to be repaired, it's expensive, but if you could sink your drone in there and then take thermal images, or can you do thickness testing of the inside of the stack?
The one sensor we did test out this summer, it was a LiDAR sensor, and it's basically built for that. For confined space, for dropping down stacks or shafts, or I'm not sure if it does, it doesn't do thermal, but there are, I think there's thermal confined space drones. I don't know if I'd want to put mine down there. It might be a waiver issue involved in that, but yeah, I don't know if it would do that, but I know, like I say, there is a really expensive LiDAR sensor that would drop down there and be able to map and actually get a color point cloud, I guess, and a LiDAR image of all the interior of that thing.
Okay, and then if I understand you correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rod, what you want to do then is if you're awarded this money, or your business goes in this direction, you want to be able to take that data, then make a software program that can make a digital twin, so that next year when you come to do the inspection, you can get real results saying, okay, you got thinning on the west side about 20 feet down or something. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't own this software, but basically this software would give you guys the information, the customer, SAS Power. It would give you guys the information of when you do have to send somebody in there, you want to go about 220 feet down and look on the northwest side instead of doing a circle all the way down from 484 feet, I think it was.
We can come in from Boston. It takes a long time to build this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So help me understand what is it you want to build?
Basically, we want to incorporate this cloud-based software for all of our sensors instead of having a multispectral sensor processing fee, instead of having a photogrammetry processing fee, instead of having like I say, the thermal multispectral, and then it also for the virtual tours there when we're in the facility there, all that basically is fees and expenses that we have to account for, which we have to inflate in our costs and pass on to the customers. But basically, that would all be available and all be inclusive, I guess, with this software.
Okay, and so then my last question will be about risks. What are the risks of this inspection? Say you're successful in your mandate. What are some of the risks that your business would face?
Some of the risks. Sorry, what?
Besides shotguns on your drone.
Oh yeah, well, that has been tried. Like I say, it's legally considered an aircraft, and it's with Transport Canada and the law. There's no difference between shooting at this and shooting at an airplane with a pilot in the cockpit, and that's. I think maybe just an education that the public need to know about when they're shooting at things. But some of the risks. I mean, some of the technology is always changing. The sensors and camera qualities are always changing. So that's something we're trying to, conscious about, and that's why I want to use this AI software just to help streamline things and help manage. For our sensors, basically they're top of the line. This year. Next year, there might be another 9 megapixel camera that puts ours a little bit outdated, I guess, too. So that's one of the issues that we're trying to stay ahead of, I guess. Thank you.
Rod, as a professional pilot, drone pilot to another professional pilot, my mantra when I'm flying down a smokestack with $500,000 worth of equipment is I have insurance, I have insurance, I have insurance, I have insurance. So these next two people, Logan and Wyatt, I was a judge at a science fair, a regional science fair in Latman about 8 months ago. And these two grade 12 students, who here in grade 12 would be willing to have done this when we think back? How amazing is this? But they immediately, I was like, these are two little Elons in a good way. So we had to really get them out to mentor. So I'm not going to say anymore. These guys are going to blow you away. Good luck, guys.
Thanks, Gord. I'm Wyatt Thompson.
I'm Logan Stewart.
And we're from Smart Irrigation here. So I'll just say a quick short description before we get in of what we're trying to do here. So we are building and designing a portable irrigation system to pretty much replace current irrigation systems that are not able to move from your field to your other field and cannot actually get 100% of the land. So the idea all started because we are both farmers and ranchers and have farmland and cattle. And so farmers right now have to buy an irrigation for every field, and that irrigation system is not able to actually reach your corners of your field, and it's not getting 100% of land, where the one we are designing will be able to get 100% of the land. Our mission is to allow customers to upgrade to our portable irrigation system and kind of just improve. We're improving upon the current irrigation system right now and making it easier for farmers and ranchers to better their life.
So as Wyatt said, the clients are farmers, ranchers, and anyone who uses irrigation systems today. We believe more farmers will turn to irrigation because there will be a more useful irrigation system. So they'll be able to use it for multiple fields instead of having to buy one for each field. So the client's problem. So farmers spend a lot of money trying to buy an irrigation system for each field. But if they bought one of ours, they could buy one and then irrigate the multiple fields. So it also takes time to set up an irrigation system. Ours is portable, so it'll be set up at factory, and then you could just haul it to the farmer's field and fold it out, and you're ready to go.
The problem right now is that, as most of you probably know, the world is in a current food shortage right now. We have a growing population by a huge number, and farmers are expected to put up more food with less land because it is being taken up by cities and houses to provide for our growing population. And that this irrigation system would allow farmers to actually irrigate 100% of the land, to actually gain that extra 15% of food, 15% of crop, which would add 15% of your food supply for on all irrigated land, and irrigation is used worldwide right now.
So our solution to those problems would be our portable irrigation system. Our portable irrigation system would use the telescoping. So it would extend in the field to reach the corners, and then it'll shrink up small and then fold up for transport.
So as of right now, this is our working model. As you can see, we designed this, like Gord was saying, he judged us at a regional science fair. We did end up going on to nationals. We competed at Edmonton with this project, and we've been continue working on it ever since. And as you can see in top left corner there, that is us demonstrating how it is able to telescope out. We are still improving upon these models to this day. And that telescoping allows it because your corners are a lot longer from the center of the field than from the edges. So you can only be, the current irrigation systems are only one length, where ours will follow, like say you got a fence line, it'll follow the fence line all the way into the corner and come back out of the corner. And our irrigation system folds up and you can hook it on a semi or whatever you want to transport it. And it has drop down transport wheels at the back, so you can just, you set your transport wheels down, pick it up, and you hook on it, and away you go to your next field, unfold it, connect it to your water source, and away you go again. You can start irrigating. Value of our clients are that farmers will be able to save a big portion of money, because although ours is going to be end up being bigger because it has to be longer to get into the corners, that and a lot of extra technology is going to go into be able to make it telescope and to shrink up and fold to meet your road legal requirements. And so this will, you save the farmers lots of money, because when you're comparing it, you buy one to say like many of the other competitors' irrigation systems, and this irrigation system is increasing your food supplies to the world because you can get more of that cropland irrigated to produce more food.
At the moment right now, we are unsure how much one of our systems would cost, but we know the market's huge. There's irrigations all over North America, and right now we're too early to tell how much ours would cost, but as Wyatt was saying, the farmer would have to buy one of ours where they'd have to buy multiple of our competitors. So right now, it's just Wyatt and I working on this business idea. We started it about a year ago and still continuing on today.
Yeah, our competitors are, well, a big competitor we've been looking at is, it's called the Central Pivot Irrigation System. And their strengths are they've been producing well-built irrigation systems for many years now. They're well known, and yeah, all big farmers and everybody's been buying their irrigation systems for many years as they've been building them. But their weaknesses are that they're not portable. They have to be built in the field, which takes up downtime that you got to build it in the field, and they're simply not getting 100% of the land. So that is 15% they're missing, which on a quarter section of land is 24 acres. That adds up real fast when you calculate thousands and millions of acres. Advantages of ours are, you guys probably know by now, is it's portable. And the telescoping feature on it allows us able to make it road legal, so you don't have to do any disassembly to get it down the road. You just simply unhook your water source and fold it up, and you hook onto it. It will be road legal, width, length, all that, and you bring it to your next field. You unhook, you unfold it, connect the water, you're good to go.
Again, our clients, how much it would cost. We're very early in the stages. We're going to be designing a 3D model to scale and do further research into materials to use, and that'll give us a better idea how much it will actually cost.
So our progress in the last 6 months was we obviously, as you've seen, we built a model. We did not start off at that. We started off way down low. We trying to figure out how to make something actually work like this. And we made many models. We probably made 4, 5, 6 different models to actually get it. And we got this one. We showed it at our science fair, and everybody loved it. And we are still actually improving on this irrigation system today, coming up with new ideas how to make it better, make it more usable for different parts of the world, really. Our key risks right now are that, well, we're simply not known. We have not actually made anything. We're very early, as Logan was saying, in the stages of development. So it's going to take time to get us going, and people might not actually upgrade to the new irrigation system yet. Thank you for our presentation. Thanks for everybody for listening.
Awesome, great pitch. Yeah, this is a really cool idea. And so I'll preface this by saying I'm a city boy. So like whenever I've encountered a lot of ag tech companies, but whenever I encounter an ag tech company, I have to ask a million just like catch up questions first. So I'm not gonna waste time doing that. Like pick your brain after. But what I'm curious about is the potential revenue models here. So you mentioned that you could sell directly to the farmer, and the farmer would own it and operate it themselves. But I'm wondering if, with a modular system, if it is really efficient to transport, if instead there might be an opportunity for, like basically Uber for irrigation model, where you could have local or regional operators who can serve maybe 10 to 20 farms instead of the farmer investing in all of the upfront costs to service just what they operate. Do you think it could be mobile enough that it could serve a region rather than a farm?
I do think it could actually do that. We are still in the researching, so we not 100% sure on that, but I think that is possible for sure.
Very awesome. I have a million other questions for you.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea that he's giving you there, because then the farmer doesn't have to maintain it. You guys can, well, not you guys, but whoever owns it or operates it can store it all winter, make sure the nozzles are clean, all that stuff that we always fight with sprayers. We were saying this spray.
Yeah.
So excellent, Logan and Wyatt. Really happy to see you here. And I know that you're in a little secret. Don't tell anyone. I do a lot of hiring for SaskPower. Farm kids are the best, male and female, because they think outside the box, and you're demonstrating that. They know how to make something work, and they don't have the right parts and the right tools and everything else, and farmers fix it, and it gets us through the darkest nights when we make the power, right? So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see. I have some practical questions, just trying to understand with the irrigation. How do you foresee, from your visual there, how would that connect to the central supply of water? I think of Lake Diefenbaker, where I often go in the summer to visit family, and you see those circular patterns there. And when Diefenbaker was built, or SaskPower was part of the reason, but it has underground supply lines there. So how would you get the water from your rig to the supply lines?
So that would actually be the same as the current system, like a central pivot irrigation system is using. Just on our images there, just that port coming off, that was just us able to actually demonstrate it spraying water, moving, all that. But it would come off the top and disconnect up there and come down where your water supply comes up from the ground. And it all depends on how they can put a well there or drill in and bore in a water line from another source.
So then would your rig move sort of like in a linear fashion through the whole field like this, doing a swath, or how would it stay attached to the water supply and then continue to move over the whole field?
It would follow a circle pattern where all the wheels will be able to turn and drive. It would be controlled like GPS, all kind of same as that one. Would be using same technology as them, where the GPS maps out your field and controls it and be able to go around your obstacles.
And what pushes it? Is it being dragged, or is it somehow got like a motor in it?
Yeah, all the wheels will be equipped with electric motors, be able to turn. drive it and, get because your inside wheels will be going slower than your outside wheels, so it'll all be controlled.
It's kind of like a super sprinkler robot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. All right. Good luck to you.
Yeah, very, very cool. I grew up on a farm, and we had that in the 80s. I'm sure the outcome would have been different than it was. What is so who would you target, assuming that you could build a prototype and take this to market? Who would you target, or who is your target market? I know farmers, but I guess I'm looking for more specifics around that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase that. So I guess location-wise, like when I think about irrigation, I think around Baker and I think southern Alberta. So maybe I should ask the question in a different way. How would you target, say, southern Saskatchewan?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not sure how to word it, but like we would start off targeting smaller areas and work our way bigger and target the areas that are in the most need or in the drought most. And yeah, and then
Around the water supply, like I don't know the rules around.
yeah, see, that all depends on, like, say, what the farmer wants to do. Lots of farmers, actually, like bigger farmers, big corporations, they will bore in water lines. They'll have one big water source, and they'll just tee off from that water source to all their other fields and kind of use the same water source, just they'll turn the irrigation systems on at different times.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, guys. I just want to say that was a great pitch, first of all. Secondly, I think, the reason why this province is known for being a leader in ag manufacturing is guys like you guys, right? Knowing that there's a problem and not waiting for a solution to come around, but actually coming up with something that works better and addresses that problem. So keep doing what you're doing, because I think it's amazing. My question, you showed us a prototype, and I gotta say, I was very pleasantly surprised to see the prototype, because I thought you were just gonna describe what the technology is, and seeing the prototype, that's awesome. How did you guys build it?
We actually just built it from scratch, our own ideas. We took the base model of a central pivot and just thought to ourselves as we're doing, what can we do to improve this? Because when we first started building it, we were in a drought. They have no water, crops wouldn't grow, and we thought of something. What could we do to improve this? And it just we tried many different things, started off while we started brainstorming ideas, and then it basically, you tried one thing, if it didn't work, you tried another, and just kind of trial and error.
That's super cool. My second question is, you mentioned this is pretty early stage. I'm just curious as to, you have I guess a list of, top few things that you think needs further development before this can go to market.
Yeah, I think first of all, we actually need to get a 3D to scale model, and because as in our prototype there, it was only a 3-section, and our actual calculations, everything, we were thinking of a 5-section, 3 telescope out. So we'll have to actually do a 3D model of that, or on 3D print off and test all that to scale, make sure how we can work and get a better business plan, kind of get more known and just get a company started.
Have you guys thought about when you do get to the final product, just on the manufacturing side, how you guys go about doing that?
Well, we get engineers in and get them all look at it. Engineers would kind of develop it, and just based off our 3D model, and just approve it and get it for development pretty much.
That's great. Really good job, you guys.
Thanks. I'm just totally impressed with the idea. Right? Like it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Question I've got for you is, you're talking about a replacement system, right?
Yeah.
Is there a way to adapt the product to work with existing systems? So, the big circular ones around.
Yeah.
You fly over them, see all the circles. Corners are all dead.
Yeah.
Right? So is there a way to adapt this technology to use it to attach to existing systems to fill out those corners? Because you're talking about telescoping and things like that, and I'm like, well, if you can sense the fence line, right? If it squishes in when you don't need it, squishes out when you do need it. Obviously, I'm highly technical and I'm using the terms. Like it's I'm just curious if there's other models and ways you could go about this, because I think the IP in this is not in where you think it is. I think the IP in this is how you solve the problem, right? As that guy who patents the methods and those sort of things might be more valuable to you, and licensing ideas might be more value to big franchises, right? Like if you run a restaurant, that's great. If you own the restaurant and everybody pays you royalties to use your name and your menus and stuff, that's much more profitable. And again, I'm not trying to, take you off where you're going. I'm just sort of wondering if there might be other ways for you to approach the marketplace that might be a little simpler for you.
We're honestly not 100% sure on that. Just like you can't really approve, like just attach this to the current system, because they are developed in a lot more sections where ours is less sections. So you can't just add it on to theirs, where our calculations were for this certain length of sections to get it out the certain length and needed.
Yep. Or is there a way to have a unit that just irrigates the sections the others don't? I'm just asking questions, because you're right. This is about the 15%. Right?
Yep.
That's the business model. That's where the money comes in. That's where the savings to the farmer comes in, right? So I thought I'd ask a couple of questions, probing questions, not expecting answers, but just about different ways to solve the same problem. But I think you guys, this is awesome.
Thank you.
I have one quick question. Just one quick question. You guys are in high school now, right?
Yep, grade 12.
I'm just curious, like, what's the next step? Are you going to mechanical engineering, business? Like, what do you want to do next?
Agriculture, power engineering.
Yeah, I'm thinking of going into the mechanics. So that's also will help with the development of irrigation, because knowing all the mechanics of the system. You?
I'm not 100% sure what I want to do yet, but thinking about it.
I think you turned the everyone. You guys keep turning the mic off when you're finished. Keith, don't do that. I think the real answer to that question is they do a mechanical engineering degree at Southeast College, right, Tanya? Yeah. Okay, next up. When I first moved here, I was like, why are there no greenhouses here? And then I met Mr. Energy, Keith. So here you go. Energy in more ways than one. Here's your clicker.
Okay, I'm Keith from, as you can see, Long Creek Aquaponics, and I'm here tonight to explain and promote this greenhouse fish farming business that we want to bring and establish here in Estevan. Greenhousing and fish farming are two different things. We're trying to harmonize those two, and it's called like aquaponics. Basically, what we're doing is taking the nutrient-rich water from these fish tanks, circulating it through floating beds of lettuce to minimize the environmental impact that we have wasting water the way we do with greenhouse operations now. So in this operation, I'll try to explain it because it's hard to explain like 5 years of work or whatever in 15 minutes, but here we go. There's a greenhouse, and you can see is that coming? Yeah, you can see the fish tanks, the water treatment plants, the filters that take out the fish solids. The water circulates through the floating beds of lettuce, and it comes back and it goes into the fish tanks again once it's been treated. And this way, it's a symbiotic relationship between your fish and your plants. And you're maximizing everything, especially with the sunshine we have in Estevan. As Gord was saying, couldn't figure out why. Estevan is called the energy city for many reasons. One of them should be for the hours of sunshine that we get each year. And I don't think we take enough advantage of that because everything was too easy in the past, oil, gas, coal. Now we're getting into, as times change, you get into that point where you're going like, how can we maximize where we live and how? So greenhousing is kind of a no-brainer for us here. So what we want to do is set up aquaponic systems that are sized for populations of the city, right? So the model we've chosen is going to produce probably, and I won't say like hard numbers because I don't want to be bound to that, but because the future changes. But what we want is about 3,500 heads of lettuce a week and 200 pounds of maple smoked trout. All the work we've done so far has shown that for that size, for our size of city and population in the geo, we should be able to sustain that and be a profitable business. This is what our facility that we have planned is going to look like up front. You have the fish farm, the water treatment plant, your slaughterhouse, your storage, all in the front, and then you got the greenhouse in the back. And as I said, it's a symbiotic thing. One doesn't run really good without the other, because if you don't have the plants taking out the nutrient-rich water, the water treatment plant has to work overtime, or you just pump it out. It goes out as waste. So here there really is no waste. You take the solids out, and that can be used as a fertilizer, an offshoot business as per se, right? The nutrient-rich water gets sucked up by the plants. The minimum like that we ship out as wastewater is 4 liters a minute. So when you think about the size of a fish farm you have, the size of the greenhouse, and you're only wasting, and it won't even go to waste. We'll actually save it, mix it with the solids, and take it out to a farmer's ranch, fertilizes, oats, wheat, whatever, right? It's a great combination. And this is what the floating beds of lettuce will look like, right? Those are troughs of water with styrofoam with heads of lettuce. Each week, you take out the mature lettuce at the end. It gets packaged up and you put the new ones from the nursery in the back. Can everybody hear me? I'm kind of waving my arms around here. It's good? Okay. So each week, and you do the same thing with the fish. I'll go back to, the fish tanks. Each week, you harvest the fish from the back tanks, you put your new fry in the front, and you keep moving them as they mature. And they've always got the clean water in there, which is great. So as you go, and then you circulate the water through the lettuce and it's on the same system. The mature get taken out, the new get put in. It's a continual operation with very little waste. We'll get into the zoning that we've done, like the planning, I should say. The planning we've done at this stage is, we've been at it for about 4 years, 5 years. We've bought some land at the southeast corner of town, and we've got it zoned for these 5 things. Like, we can get there. I'm not a cannabis fan, but there's an option depending on investment. Regular greenhouse, aquaculture, aquaponics. What's the last one? Oh, and the market garden we can set up there. So you can have a farmer's market, you can do whatever you want, but it's zoned for that now. And we wanted to make sure that when we're promoting, looking for investment, we had everything done. My son, who's a co-partner in this project with me, was living in Sweden at the time. Sweden, Europe, they're a little bit ahead of us when it comes to environmental stuff, especially fish farming. He took a 42-week course on shellfish and regular fish farming, and got a diploma through the European Union Higher Vocational Education, I think they called it. I'm not great at reading Swedish. Getting my foot wet into the fish farming was a course in Manitoba in late 2019. University of Prince Edward Island put it on. They were promoting farmers diversifying and getting into fish. So a lot of the people that had hogs at the time, hog prices were way down. They converted their hog barns into fish farms. I've toured quite a few, well, 3 of them. One actually, the Ridgeland Colony do Arctic char. They have a fabulous setup. They turned their hog barn, but they originally started by just taking the pigs out, putting new troughs in, and putting in Arctic char. And it was great. Mine was a little bit more of a crash course though, like it was like 3 days of great learning. And you also learn the technology in the fish farming is actually quite good. So if I had a fish farm here and I wasn't very experienced, you can take a picture of a fish, you send it to the lab in Winnipeg, they diagnose your problem, they tell you how to isolate the problem, and then you do a little autopsy on the fish and send a certain part of the liver to them. And then they tell you what's the matter with the fish. Or you can hook an AI program up to your fish farming that monitors your fish all the time. Like, there's options like that. So I can't get all the explanation. I think I'll do better with the questions, but what we want to do is, where am I at here? So the zoning's done, we have the land, we have it zoned, we have some education behind us. We've done a feasibility study on this, on different sizes. The feasibility study was done on a larger fish farm, greenhouse operation. We sized one for this city. We think it's great. We also have the services of Mark LeBerge. He's an expert in Canada. He helped us put together a feasibility plan. I just talked to him last week. He's all game for us to kickstart this and get it going. And he's a great support guy. He's been in this business for 30 years probably. Great guy. He'll fly out, do whatever. So we've retained his services to do it, to help us get this going. And also, the firm that helped us put our business plan together is going to help us put the business in motion as well. So when you put everything we put together, the property we have, which is unobstructed, by the way, it's on the edge of the valley. Great for windmills, fish farms. When I say windmills, I don't mean the giant ones. I just mean smaller ones, solar panels. We think we're ready to take the next step and promote. And I just put a picture of the Living Sky, Saskatchewan on there because we do want to take advantage of the energy out of the sun. And we can still be called the energy city and not just on oil, gas, and coal. So I think the future is very sustainable, and our project is sustainable for each city that wants to do this. And that's our expansion. Plans are get your foot wet, get it started, get it going here, and then we can expand up the road because our food chain in Saskatchewan starts in the north and comes this way. So if you want quality produce, just grow it yourself. Because you know, when the food gets dropped off, say from California, Mexico, in Regina, Saskatoon, you know you ain't gonna get the good stuff at the end of the chain. So if the chain starts here and moves that way, we think it's quite a bit better. So in closing, I would just like to say that thanks all for coming. Number one, I didn't realize there's gonna be this many people, and it's great to see the entrepreneurial spirit alive. And we're hoping to kick this off here through the winter and start in the spring. That's all I got. Grill time.
Sure. Thanks for that, Keith. That was great. Appreciate it. My first question, just a little bit of education for me. How long does the fish take to mature in the tanks?
Once you start, you'll start with different sizes in each tank, and then you progress, and depends how fast they're growing, how fast they're eating. Each week, though, you can have a harvest cycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, thanks for that. Have you looked into the cost difference, or you know, I'm not looking for like exact numbers, but just an idea of what the cost difference is between this kind of fish farming and just the conventional kind?
Yeah, the conventional kind, like you're talking about like Diefenbaker Lake and the trout there, like,
well,
there ain't many fish farms around.
Not in Saskatchewan, but in the coast and what have you, I guess.
Yeah, the cost of this is quite a bit lower because it's a combination of things, right? Like I said, the symbiotic relationship you have or whatever, and the fish grow great in a greenhouse environment too. Like, you know, the pictures I showed were a little bit sheltered or whatever, but the sunshine is great for them as well. Our numbers for the price of the fish is comparable. I won't say it's better, maybe cheaper for Saskatchewan, it might be cheaper, but comparable to larger fish farms on the coast and stuff. Nah, I don't think you can compare. I think we push more for the local thing, right? The local stuff that you get here.
Yeah. I think that's your real advantage is
Yeah.
providing that cost difference, even if it's the same.
We can do the same, yeah.
Yeah, your real value is that it's fresh, right? Not only the
Exactly.
fish and you know, I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but you know, Canada in general, we import a significant amount of produce.
Yeah.
So I think even if it's if the cost is the same, I think there's your value, right? Like you can tell people and you can market it as something that's much fresher than what they would get at a grocery store.
Yeah, and you can actually show them. I mean, you know, you can have a tour of the place, right? You know what I mean? And do the educational thing. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. My last question is, you know, you mentioned obviously this is a big capital project. You've got different technologies that are working in conjunction with one another. What other industry partners do you see that you'd have to work with to bring this to life?
I'm not sure if I really get the question there. What other industry partners? You'd have to develop a relationship with retailers, like in wholesale.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and we've done that. We've done the groundwork on that, like with the local restaurants, grocery stores, stuff like that. We've done that footwork already, and a business plan is done. Feasibility plan is done and looks good. So as far as it goes, local support would be the good thing. And being fresh, like when you go buy like a head of lettuce, like it's astronomical at the store, right? So you can bring that down, right? The fish, the same thing. That's our specialty thing will be the fish, because on a smaller fish farm operation like this, it'd be hard to compete with the large stuff, with just like a fillet. So you go top end and you maple smoke it, right? Flash freeze it, out the door. That's what we're looking at there. And your lettuce is not the only thing to grow either, right? Like, I mean, we can get into the tomatoes and stuff. So say we do another one of these size things, say in Weyburn, right? The Weyburn one might grow tomatoes and cucumbers, right? We might do the lettuce, and then you co-op back and forth, but the distance isn't from here to Vancouver getting a head of lettuce, or here to California, right? Weyburn picks up the phone and says, hey, bring up a load, we'll send you down some tomatoes, right? So that's what we're after, the co-op community thing going, and go to the store and see Saskatchewan written on a thing of lettuce, right? And then, like, we got a model size for, say, Regina. So you go, when I said go up the chain, that means you start here, you co-op your things, and then you got a big one in Regina and a big one in Saskatoon, right? That's our vision for the future. Plus, there's a lot of things in the pipeline that can make it more environmentally sound, with getting rid of waste and gasification, stuff like that.
That's awesome. My only ask is for your first harvest, if you can save me that'd be great.
Guaranteed.
Thanks. So one of the things that Southeast College is about sustainability,
Yeah.
right? And innovation to achieve that sustainability. Like, you took the skin off the balls and left the ball field when you talk about innovation and sustainability. Okay. Local is where we're moving to.
Yep.
Look at organic, local to local. This is exactly where the marketplace is going, right? Now, I'm looking at the size of the check over there, and I'm thinking this is not big for the district.
Nope.
Okay, like $22,000 is fantastic, but it's probably not paying the mortgage on it. Okay, so again, this is just about a feasibility. You've done all your homework. It definitely agrees. So clearly, you're going to utilize this money for something. But when you commercialize, you're obviously going to have to commercialize with, large investors.
Yep.
With, loans, or however else, there's a variety of ways to do it. I'm sure there's some government money and some sustainability money as well too, right? So my question to you is, what would you utilize these funds to do? Is this something that would allow you to take the next step, to actually turn this into a reality? Because, when I look at, the mission and stuff, what we're doing here, it's about diversification, right? That's definitely what you're talking about. How close are you to bringing this to market? How close are you to, to actually making this happen? I know you said you got the land, that's obviously great. Clearly, this is being done elsewhere in the world, so you can pattern it off it. So there's examples. It's not like you're creating something new. You're bringing something new to the area. So how likely are we to see this happen here?
On a percentage here, it's going to happen here first, guaranteed. Because I've already had offers to take this and promote it in Regina, right?
Okay.
And I was born and raised here. I got the feasibility money from here, and I made a commitment that it's going to be here first, right? And then after, say, 2 years, once it gets established and everybody knows it's established, that opens the doors up to so many more different financial systems to make it work, right? So expansion isn't out of the picture. It's the 2 years to get going. And yeah, it's going to happen here first, and can't see happening anywhere else.
Okay, all right.
And the money, by the way, will go promotion to get like an investors meeting, stuff like that, travel to get it done. That's what that's for.
So this helps you build that coalition.
Yep.
To actually make it happen.
Yep.
Because ultimately, when the judges decide, we want to see progress.
Yep.
Right? And so I'm just kind of curious as to how this would
No, it's moving step by step. AJ just moved over from Sweden here and just got settled in. So that was one of the last piece of the puzzle, actually, to kickstart and do the promotion now that we got everything in place.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Excellent. Great to see how far you've come since the first time I saw you met. The pictures, is that from in Sweden? Like
The which?
the pictures that you had, the water tanks, the lab?
No, that's from North America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these operations in Texas are numerous. You never hear about Texas is like huge, right? But I go down there a bit. We got family down there, and I've toured a few places, and site-specific food production is starting to be a thing, right? And you'll know by different cultures you have in your city what you can grow. What, like in some cities, herbs are big, right? Fresh restaurant, and you go to the restaurant and yeah, it's wow, locally produced, right? And they're proud to put their stamp on it too, right? So that's why this is such a innovative thing, because you can change growing and have a product out. Say the tomatoes you grew weren't the right kind for your area. You can change your brand of tomatoes and have a crop out in 6 months, right? Without missing too much of a beat. And that's what we're trying to, I think, establish is a pattern of non-failure and by switching, by diversifying, right? And I think we can do it with this.
My other question is around job creation and employment, because that's one of the part of the mission statement is that job creation, economic enhancement.
Yeah.
So this to me looks like a lot of hands when it's fully operational. And
Yeah.
building.
Yeah, in our business plan, we got it where there'll be like 4 full-time and 3 part-time, and then there'll be like 7 full-time once it gets rolling.
And that's just to work at the facility, that's not the transporting and.
No. And the transporting thing too, like we've got it down to where, depending on the geographic area, we can do the transporting and delivering. And then after that, like say a load's got to go to Regina or Co-op takes a load, goes back the other way. That's all worked out in the plan as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it's exciting to see this type of idea come to the prairies. Couple questions. The first being, so part of the Tech Hub's mandate is innovation. So I'm just curious, importing this over to the prairies, is there anything specific about the Canadian environment, either like physically, geographically, or economically, that's going to create some form of technical uncertainty that will require some form of R&D or like new innovations to be?
No, I don't see that. The only thing we have against us here is our weather, right? You know, and that can change on a heartbeat. That can change the economics of your plan too. Like if winter started at the tail end of September and went to like April, right? You know that your costs are going to be higher, like way higher for the energy, right? That's why we like to say that we're environmentally sustainable, because we want to incorporate different things that I've learned in the past and that can be so good, like gasification of waste I was into. And my project with the gasification was utilizing the flax straw waste. And now that I know there's a plant in Regina, I don't have to recreate the wheel. I have a gasification system we can expand and do that. So it'll bring down the heating cost. You're not fighting with the power and the price of gas, right? So we want to try to utilize more Saskatchewan stuff that way as well.
Another question that you guys touched on recently, you mentioned the cannabis space. So something that happened in cannabis is that the venture capital community way over-invested in what they thought was going to be a much larger market than there actually was. And so now just about every major city has a massive state-of-the-art cannabis facility sitting outside of it that isn't growing anything and is trying to be sold for pennies on the dollar.
Mhm.
So I'm curious, like you've thought this out on the greenhouse space. Is this something that could be ported into an indoor cannabis facility?
What we're planning for indoor cannabis, do you mean? Or these facilities that are vacant?
Do aquaponics inside of an indoor facility rather
Oh,
than-
yeah. You can convert a lot of different spaces. If you see a farmer converting a hog barn into a fish farm, you've seen it all, right? That's innovation, right? And that's the entrepreneurial spirit, and that's what it is. But when you do see that, you're going like, you know your limits on what fish can take and what they can't take, right? And I've seen them swimming around in the gutters, right? And that's how they raise them. And there's one farmer that has a genetic strain from the Nimrod Lake of Arctic char, and he grows them. He's got a hatchery, he's got the hatchery and everything in his barn, but the gutters where how am I going to put this? Where the poop went from the pigs, right? Okay, he's turned them into, that's the breeding ground for the Arctic char, right? And he's got a great facility. It's not pretty to look at. The fish are fantastic to come out of there. And ours project was originally going to be Arctic char, but they got the market kind of cornered on that, monopolized. So it's like taking part in the feasibility study like I did. We wanted to make sure that you just didn't write it off, go like your Arctic char, the market's too cornered, this, that. So go with trout, right? Trout's available. Trout's good to eat. Maple smoked trout's even better. And so when we did the feasibility, we made sure that every angle we looked at was feasible, right? And if there was a roadblock, what was that roadblock and how do we correct it? And so we did that. We come up with a model that was, and it works, right? So that's when we got, three different models of the fish farm for different size cities. So we can go up the chain. That's our goal.
Yeah, I know you're early days, but something to consider in terms of expansion. Because I know a few real estate agents that are trying to figure out what the heck to do with these massive, expensive facilities.
Well, if you got connections, yeah, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
That was really interesting, and greenhouses are very near and dear to my heart. So I love to see things growing, and I love ideas that will feed us locally too, so that we can be more locally sustained. Just watching the presentation, I was glad you veered away from the lettuce, because you mentioned other things can be grown, and lettuce doesn't have a lot of nutrition. It can be super expensive, but yeah, thinking outside the box there could provide even a higher nutrient dense vegetable. Thinking about the risks, I know you mentioned weather, snow loading on the greenhouses. Is that a concern with the construction of them?
That all depends. If you go with regular poly, sometimes some snowstorms would, and that goes where the property that we have is on the edge of the valley. Most of our weather comes from the northwest. We're situated there where the breeze would blow it off. Being in the greenhouse business before, I know about snow load, right? And it's something to watch. Depending on investment, if you went with glass or Acra, whatever it's called there, I can't remember the exact name, that company there. But anyway, it's almost like glass. It's clear like glass. Very good. It's expensive though. You don't have to worry about the snow load part of that at all.
You mentioned only a 4-liter waste for what?
4 liters a minute of water that'd be called designated wastewater. That would go down in town. It would go in a sewer. We're collecting it in a tank, and then we want to mix the solids with that and create a liquid fertilizer to go out.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, too, that this facility is going to be certified organic as well, right? So that your fertilizer, your food, everything can bring a better price, but we've got it priced where we can compete, right? So we're not worried about, we can sell it as certified organic for the same price as you're getting regular stuff now. That's where the advantage is here.
Okay, so 4 liters per minute?
Oh, sorry, I got off topic there.
4 liters per minute?
That's what it is, yeah.
Okay, so where would your makeup water come from?
Our water
Your makeup water, yeah.
from the city,
Okay,
yeah. The makeup water comes in. We call it wastewater, it would go out. That gets saved in a tank though, and having a water treatment plant like we do, you can tweak it to whatever you need.
okay. Have you at all approached the city about that much water consumption? I'm just curious because it would change their inputs as well.
Yeah, no, talk with the city. That kind of water is good because you don't use that much water. The water, that 4 liters, that's going out the back end, right?
But you have to make it on the front end. Like
It's coming in on the front end, yeah, but it's very minimal. Once you got everything filled up, whatever the plants use, whatever the fish drink, you know, like whatever your process uses, which isn't really that much, your water's got no evaporation because your rafts are floating on the top, right? So it's not exposed. You still got condensation buildup in there, but as far as the wastewater goes, that's just the water coming out of the back of the lettuce beds that isn't qualified to be put back in.
Okay, yeah, I understand where it's coming from. I just worry that possibly, you know, from a city works point of view, that you want to make sure you got that supply on the front end for the 4 liters a second.
Plus, we would have a tank for emergency storage water. Yeah.
And I would imagine, and I hate to say this, working for SAS Power, you would also have an on-site generator because those fish and those lettuce aren't going to do well.
You have to. You have to, yeah. And in our business plan, we also did incorporate a crop failure as well, just in case, right?
Sorry, I see.
And I think SAS Power has excess water too from Shan there.
You give it to the city. Capital expenditure looks like it's for both projects put together because you submitted 2 business plans that were kind of integrated there. Looks like around $1 million or so would be your capital expenditure, and I think 10% of that is for a consultant, right?
Yeah, depending. We have the fish farm one and the lettuce one, and if you put them together, it's about a 1.5 with contingency money in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you seem like a guy who knows a lot. Why do you need that consultant?
Because we've never done it. And if I'm going to ask somebody for venture capital money, I want to make sure he's happy to know that I have experience and little schooling on that, but he's going to want to know exactly if I got consulting guy coming in that is an expert. So if you have experts on your team, it's a lot easier to convince somebody to come in. But that's only going to be for the first one.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Let's see, I think that's about it. I was also kind of concerned with how much, or where you're getting your supply of fish food.
Fish food comes from, there's a place in Alberta now that started up by Ball and out of Vancouver, West Coast.
Is it a fish-based fish food or is it a?
Some of it is, yep. Yeah. And we're looking at doing that too. Like, so to make a long story short, Saskatchewan is starting to get a lot of protein plants and stuff like that, like the pea protein. We want to develop a fish food that we can make on the prairies for our fish, right? And there's certain types of fish that are into that, so yeah.
Good vegetarian food.
Kind of like that, yeah. There is actually.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, that is all the pitches. Judges, I have no clue. You guys have a hard thing to decide. You quit, and you guys asked some amazing questions. Good job. For those who pitched, you guys all blew it away. For those who watched, one of the goals here isn't to inspire you people who are watching to do the same thing and grow your own business. Look how amazing our community is to have created these pictures with all their different ideas. So if you're inspired, cards over there, building is in the Affinity parking lot, come and see us. You guys can now leave. And we're going to mingle and listen to the Jeopardy theme song while they go figure it out. This is your chance to talk to the pitchers. Sorry. Oh, the check.
Depends on what they prioritize. It's an MRI of basically. They can also they can respond they can locate from the surveillance, but inherently there's risk with causing a flare up when it's active. So they will take it to that. So like something like 80% are caused by building response. She doesn't have a build up. The other 20% is caused by heavy grades. Clearly it's not. Like that's, and then there's a fraction of like other basic reasons. Okay, so I don't know if she's like communicated this very well, but she had something thyroid antibodies, which hypothyroidism. So the low function of thyroid, which is also so they basically has a mild form of that or an early stage of that or something that can cause other things to build up. Like we don't know if that's what's causing this last year. But so the doctor put her on basically vitamins to promote thyroid function. And this doctor was like, well, let's go and put you on like which is the thyroid one, whatever. But then it sounds like Dr. Tabas supposed to be 18, so 17 years. So it still feels like there's more questions than definite answers. It's more comfortable to her. So she started it the provider and she moved to college. Now like she can't live in her back inside. So she's not sleeping great. I've realized like just scraps and I'm trying to just I'm applying for jobs. Trying to like learning and keep reading but like because I've been doing counseling and I just realized like housework is really hard for me because it's like a minor it's just subconsciously it's like I don't want to because I'm working and it's story but then it leads me it's not like this, it's like this. And so anyways, like she was like, if I want to get there, that's what I talked to the doctor and he's like, well, we don't recommend that it's great because it's your growing and sugar bones are growing until she's 16. So if you put it in a plate and it's two circles and you put it in a plate and it screws and it's really curly. So then and then it doesn't grow. So it's two surgeries. She said like what happens is like because they're growing, it's gonna fill in here and the shoulder. It's gonna fill in and as they grow it's gonna stretch, right? So it's gonna lessen that big part, but it's in the will be a little bit. Yeah. He said like in her practice is anyway, so like with this and then when they're getting sick and they're just basically At least to me, it's not little kids are super valuable. Like I asked people this morning because I was before my son was cat, and she came over. She was saying like the baby was hours of quite used to like, and it's just like it doesn't understand where it sounds because she just wants to get so I mean, I kind of wanted to work on catching, but so far I've been trying to catch on the kid and organize because everything was so to be like sick and not feeling good, who's that? That's what the problem satellite internet has been in the past. It just took that much more time. Back down wherever, right? Like just the latency is Yeah, kilobyte is or a megabyte is 1,000 kilobytes. So this is 129 megabytes. So that is that's right. So now this was 129,000. We should have 28. So it's like, what is that? 4,000 or 500 pounds faster. What'd you think? It's really good. This is my sister. That's a hard decision. I've seen the guys on this, but I haven't been really impressed with teams. But yeah, I definitely maybe a bit. I don't think I have numbers yet. We're both really curious to see how this one is. Kids are hard on me, snapping. It's like amazing. Like it's so amazing. They make it's like I did the videos again for Festival Trees last week, so. Like, It was on the floor, so I don't think it was solved. Because it wasn't like too bad. But yeah, it was from the first floor. So it's like the kids' table, 2 chairs, 3 papers and cheese. And then I was like, my parents were also buying the table that they bought online. And then I also got the Christmas gift from Jazz, the coffee and Jane. Off to be safe for and hopefully there's no light bull crap like last year. Well, like even with like we invited him, right? Yeah. No, like the 3 times he didn't get understood there. I say it's like, yeah, Christmas Eve I could have. It was funny because it's like we told Jess about it, not talking about it.
Okay, guys, I just talked to the judges. They're still having a good debate, which I'm not surprised. When I went out and listened in the door, they were quite loud. So that's good. But they promised 5 more minutes, so let's give them 10. Okay, cool.
picture. But, oh well, no flight issues this year. It was funny. Well, I know, like, I yeah, I mean, I'll say again, Merry Christmas.
Hello, please. Or no, maybe I should do hello, please, if you give it to me. Should we do something?
Whatever you would like.
Let's see.
Chairs? Chairs in front.
Get up? Okay, I'll get up.
I'll just stand. I'll stand on the side.
How about over there? Over there. Right beside Kevin. I'm actually, oh, hello. I'm actually quite nervous about this. Just because I want all of you to win, and I truly mean that. Okay, envelope, please, sir. Has it been checked?
And
Do we?
double check.
Okay, here we go. The winners is Logan and Wyatt. Well done, guys. Well done. There you go. Amazing. Come and take pictures. Wow. Okay, right. So your mom and dad are here, so you need to thank them if you know, right?
Good advice.
There you go. Say something.
You go first. First of all, I'd like to thank Gord for putting this on for us and inviting us out. Thank my mom and dad and all of you guys for coming out and for the judges, and thank you.
Before we go, I just want to let you guys all know that all of these guys who pitched, who weren't the lucky winners, we've had, just so you guys know, they already know, we have a number of VCs, venture capital, angel investors, and others been watching. So, and this was also a fantastic opportunity for them to come out so you guys can see what they have been doing. So again, if you're inspired by any of these guys and you want to help them out in any way, please come and talk to them. So thank you guys. It was an awesome first event.
Congratulations.
celebration. So.
Yeah. Congratulations. Wow. David Wilbur, Estevan, Mercury. Talk for a couple minutes.